Omagyanatimunasya Sanansanavishaka Saksharamritam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamrupakadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiru Shiyuda Padkamalam Shirum Vaishnavam Sa Shirupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakalita Shri Vishyakam Vitamsa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandha Chatpate Gopesha Gopakanta Radhakanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripri Vankra Kalptabhisha Kripa Sindhivasha Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Srinavadi Paskachari Yasatarni Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. For many years I traveled with Prahladānanda Swami, Prahladānanda Maharaj. We traveled together in the Balkan states in Europe, and I was his assistant, and he always used to say, first become conscious and then you can become Krishna conscious. Interesting statement that this evening and tomorrow evening I will speak on Bhagavatarka Marichimala. Bhagavatarka Marichimala has been written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it means a garland of verses from the Bhagavatam. So this book has 20 chapters, and in every chapter is about a certain theme. And in that theme, and around that theme in this chapter, the only thing that Bhaktivinoda Thakur does is quoting verses of the Bhagavatam related to that theme. And many are based on the Bhagvat Gita. And the Bhagvat Gita is in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, that it starts around chapter 7, I think, with 24 spiritual masters, and then there are many chapters up to the end of the 11th canto. And this Bhagavad Gita is very interesting. It's like a second Bhagavad Gita within the Bhagavatam, and it's also spoken by Krishna. But there is one chapter there which deals with symptoms of conditioned souls, and another chapter, symptoms of liberated souls. Today we will speak about symptoms of liberated souls, not only from the 11th canto, but all verses from the Bhagavatam. And tomorrow about fortunate souls. It is a bit like in psychology. In psychology, the psychiatrist, he tries to find the reason why you are acting in a certain way, and it's going deeper and deeper and deeper until he finds the reason, and then it makes you conscious of the cause of your disease. And by becoming conscious, we can do something about it. It's the same here. We will go over these verses and I will discuss them with you. And by that, it will help you to make you aware how we are conditioned. If you know how you are conditioned, what the reasons are, you can do something about it to be less conditioned. Does that make sense? You want to go with me to the exercise?
Yes.
Okay. So today's symptoms of conditioned souls. That the first verse that Bhakti Thakur quotes, I've only put the English translation because we will discuss the contents of the verses. And this is from the 3rd canto, chapter 31, text 21. And there it is said, we became conditioned by our aversion to Krishna, but with proper intelligence, without wasting time, we can try to take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So what's the cause of our being conditioned? Aversion to Krishna. How this came about, that's another question, but that's the cause why we are here. Aversion to Krishna. And what's the solution? Surrender to Krishna. And what do you have to do for that? No, the verse.
Accept him as God.
It's in the verse what you have to do.
Be in the lotus feet of the God.
No, I read the verse again. Listen attentively. We became conditioned by our aversion to Krishna. But with proper intelligence and without wasting time, we can take shelter of Krishna. So what do we need to do?
Take shelter.
Get proper intelligence. Otherwise, we cannot do it. And without wasting time. Without wasting time. That's very important. I know a devotee, that's 20 years ago, but he was a devotee, he was from Australia, and he was a CEO of an international company, a big company. And he was a devotee, and he said that I make it a priority to chant my rounds with attention first in the morning. And that chanting gives me the intelligence to decide what's important and what's not important. And during the day, I'm only doing what's important. And by that, I'm saving so much time. So it's saving time by chanting. Sometimes we say, I don't have time, I'm too busy. No, you chant and you will see what's important and what's not important, and you will save time. I found it an interesting approach. But with proper intelligence, where does this proper intelligence come from to take shelter of Krishna? Where does it come from? How is such intelligence called?
Buddhi.
Buddhi, yeah.
Dadami Buddhi Yoga.
Dami Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga, that's it.
Yes.
Transcendental intelligence, not ordinary intelligence. That you can have a high material IQ, but not understanding that you are not a body. Means one is still stupid, even with a high IQ, still stupid. That's interesting. But the Dhammi Buddhi Yogantam, Krishna says this. How do you get this transcendental intelligence to take shelter of Krishna? Where does it come from?
To take shelter of Guru is a representative of Krishna.
That's a condition. Tat vinapana partner parikrishna seva protection to tehyam jhana stat vadakshana. You must take shelter of a Guru and serve him humbly. Because how does that help to get this Buddhi Yoga? How does that help to get this Buddhi Yoga? Very good point, but how does that help? Who gives you really this Buddhi Yoga?
Krishna is
Krishna says, Dadami, I'm giving. Who is this I in this verse 10:10? Bhagvat Gita? Krishna. Krishna gives. How did Brahma get intelligence to create? What did he do before? Tapa. Tapasya. Devotional tapasya. That it's the first verse of the Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasi yatom vayatitartas satis sabhya svarat tenne brahma hridaya adi kavayi. It means Brahma got the knowledge to the rib, to the heart, where there is the soul and the super soul. He got it to the heart. Is the method by which we get this knowledge different? No. Krishna said, Tesham satayuksham bhatsham pidipurkam dadami buddhiyam tam yena mamupayanti te. If you serve me with a little love, pritipurvakam, dadami, I give you this self-realized knowledge. And he gives that Tesham evanakampatam ammahyana samtama nasa jamatma bhavastu gana kipena bhashvata. He gives that to the heart, he says. I go in the heart and remove with the lamp of ignorance, or the lamp of light, of knowledge, I remove all the ignorance. But what is the connection between getting knowledge from the spiritual master and Krishna giving you knowledge to the heart? What's the connection?
Krishna takes it, and it is whatever Krishna is giving is coming through spiritual master.
Yeah.
And Shastra.
And through Shastra.
But still he gives it to the heart, or how is that?
Mercy. Mercy?
Mercy, that's certainly required. But let's see, Krishna said, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajanam pritipurvakam. Pritipurvakam, what does that mean? A little love. That the problem is, we don't know what love is. Love develops when the heart is pure. Before we don't even know what love is, we take it as lust. When the heart is pure, love develops. At Nishta, it starts to really develop. Anaktinivriti, you become pure, it starts to develop. But we don't have it. We don't even know what's a little love. But Krishna says, Tat vinapana partner parikrishna sevya upadeksham tadehyam jnana stat vadakshana. If you serve me with love, if you serve me humbly, inquire about spiritual life, that means, in essence, following the instructions of the spiritual master. if we are following the instructions of the spiritual master, is Krishna pleased?
Yes. Yes.
Is the spiritual master pleased?
Yes.
Spiritual master is representative of? So Krishna is pleased. So we may not have love, we may not have this piti purvakam, but if we serve the spiritual master by following his instruction, Krishna accepted as piti purvakam, a little love. And then he, by the mercy of the spiritual master, Krishna gives us this knowledge from within the heart. But that is essential to see that connection. That's how we get proper intelligence. That, of course, intelligence comes from the spiritual master. He gives us intelligence on how to perform devotional service. But then by performing devotional service, Krishna is pleased and he gives us the realization from within the heart. Krishna gives us the realization. And that happens only by the mercy of the spiritual master. So the mercy of the spiritual master is just essential. That without wasting time. What is wasting time? Yeah, understanding what's favorable for devotional service or what's unfavorable. And the unfavorable factors, things are that atyara payasasya prajalpa yamaka jana sangram salaudyam sabir bhaktir vinashyati. It destroys bhakti, 6 things. 6 things which are wasting time. That this atyahara, what does it mean? Overeating too much. That what happens when you overeat? Sleep, uncontrolled senses. Uncontrolled senses means deeper and deeper in Maya. Atyara prayasascha. Prayash? Over endeavor for things that are very difficult to obtain. That can give an example.
Accumulating more than necessary.
Accumulating more than necessary. That but difficult to obtain. I give always the example. You have you want to buy a new house, and you have a mortgage of $3,600 a month to pay, and you have an income of $4,000. Is that a good thing to do? Will be over endeavor, right? You get into problems. And prajalpa, talking unnecessarily. That's like in the scriptures is the example of a toad who is making loud noise, inviting the serpent to eat him. And that is very dangerous. Mostly prajalpa is about criticizing others. That's very dangerous for spiritual life. It's waste of time. So, of course, there's nectar of instructions, much more to say about that, but what we learn here, we are conditioned because we are averse to Krishna. The solution is taking shelter of Krishna, For that we need proper intelligence and stop wasting time. Engage ourselves 100% in the service of Krishna, always, whatever you do. Okay, that's the first verse. A few more. There's a second verse, Bhaktivinoda Thakur list from the third canto, chapter 27, verse 2 and 3. The living entities become bewildered by I and mine. Thus the conditioned soul takes birth in different species of life. So why do we take birth in different species of life?
Because
Yeah? Because we are bewildered by I and mine. Why is I and mine a problem?
Because it makes you forget Krishna and remembers yourself more.
Yeah. Bhaktaram Jagatapasyam Sarvalokamaishvaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Katpam Jam Shantim Richati. What does that verse mean?
Krishna is a proprietor.
Krishna is a proprietor and enjoyer. So is it then okay if I say this is mine? To whom belongs it?
Krishna.
And Krishna, if someone is a proprietor, do you have the right to enjoy? Yes. Krishna is a proprietor. He has the right to enjoy. Right? But if we think we are the proprietor, does that give us the right to enjoy? No. It doesn't belong to us. So that brings the illusion in this world is so dense that many so-called spiritualists say, I'm renouncing my house, I'm renouncing my wife, I'm renouncing my bank balance. Mine. It's like I go to the house of my neighbors and I say to my neighbors, no, I'm going to live here and enjoy the house. What will they do? They call the police or the madhouse, and then men come to get you in a white suit, in white dress. No, nothing is ours. How can you renounce something that is not from you? It's the same madness, the madness of the impersonalist. You think I'm going to renounce. But if nothing is yours, there is nothing to renounce. The same logic is there for Krishna. Krishna says this in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Krishna says to Rukmini, why did you marry me? You could have married great princes like Sisupal. I'm a pauper, I don't have anything. Everything belongs to King Ungasena, not to me. And I took shelter in the ocean, Krishna says, out of fear of my enemies. So finally Krishna proposed jokingly a divorce, and Rukmini fainted. When she came back to consciousness, she replied to all these points of Krishna, and she says, yes, it's true, you cannot possess anything. You cannot possess anything, because you are everything, and you can't possess anything. So that is translogical. But we can also not possess anything because it belongs to Krishna. It is Krishna, it belongs to Krishna. And therefore, Rupa Goswami says, real renunciation is understanding everything belongs to Krishna and should therefore be used in Krishna's service. And that is renunciation. That's real renunciation. That's the entire picture. So we are. But if we think I and mine, and we want to enjoy, I means I want to enjoy, and I think this is mine. That one is we understand now. One is in illusion, but it's going to deepen one's illusion. How does it deepen one's illusion if you think I'm the enjoyer and this is mine? How is it going to deepen your illusion?
You create more attachment.
Attachment, yeah. That attachment is also called lust.
Yeah, lust, yes.
Yeah.
Attachment is lust.
And what is the effect of this lust on your consciousness? You identify more and more with the body and the mind. Your bodily consciousness becomes more and more solidified. And what is the result of this attachment? What is the result of lust, Krishna says in Bhagvat Gita? Suffering. And Avritam Jnanam Etina, it covers your eternal knowledge that you are a spirit soul. And what does this verse say? What's the result? You will take birth in different species of life. So what is the cause of conditioned life according to the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna says, Bhukti Prakriti Chan Gunan. We want to enjoy Prakriti. We want to enjoy material nature, exploit it. And Satasat Yonis Sanyasu, something like that. And then you take birth in different species of life, Krishna says. So we have discussed a few verses, but then another symptom is this of conditioned soul is described in the 3rd canto, chapter 9, verse 7-8. It speaks for those whose senses are uncontrolled. What does uncontrolled senses mean? When are your senses uncontrolled?
When you are in unfavorable association, having unfavorable association with either object or person or place.
Mm-hmm.
You have too much lust.
Too much lust.
You're excessive.
Excessive.
When they are always hankering for the objects which are other than Krishna conscious.
Okay. It's all right, but I want to go a little deeper. Krishna explains, we have a subtle body.
Intelligence is not proper.
Yeah, coming closer. What are the 3 components of the false ego? Mind, manas, buddhi, and ahankar, thinking that we are the body. Krishna says in Bhagvat Gita, they are the object of the senses, the Visaya. Higher than the object of the senses are the senses. Higher than the senses are mind. Higher than the mind is, higher than the intelligence is the soul. Now, what is the difference between a liberated soul and a conditioned soul? Conditioned soul is, I look at my body and I see, oh, I'm the body, I'm a man. If you think you are a man, and you are really convinced of it, as most people, and they say, a beautiful girl, it's also in the other direction, but then all the senses of the person become attracted to this girl. The skin wants to touch the girl. It wants to, when the girl speaks, it's very sweet for the ear of a man. All attracted, all the senses, the eyes become attracted. All the senses become attracted. And that comes to the senses into the mind. And the feeling in the mind comes, yes, we want to touch the girl. That we want to see the girl. That and the mind says to the, that feeling comes in the mind, and the mind says, yes, let's go for it. And the intelligence says, wait a minute, what with morality? Maybe the girl is married. And the mind says to the intelligence, you old fool, do something practical. Well, the intelligence said, you could write her an email and you can promise her the moon and the sun, and you can throw some stars, but don't sign the letter, because just near to her is a very strong man. So that's conditioned life. The feelings for lust comes to the senses in the mind, and the mind is going to misuse the intelligence to make plans to get sense gratification. Is that clear? Now, a liberated soul is different. A liberated soul, in a liberated soul, the soul with desire pushes the intelligence to get transcendental knowledge. And with that transcendental knowledge, the intelligence engages the mind and the senses in Krishna's service. That's the liberated stage. You see where the difference is?
Yes.
That's the deeper knowledge. So, what's the solution? We need transcendental knowledge. Knowledge how to act as a spirit soul and not as the body. And that acting as a spirit soul means acting in devotional service. Transcendental love for Krishna. And that's acting as a liberated soul. But the verse here says, if the senses are uncontrolled, one becomes averse to transcendental topics. One does not want to hear it. when there's no taste, to hear the Bhagavatam and Bhagvat Gita every day. My business is more important. First money. Money first, then love. We think, yes, my work is everything because I get money and then sons get vacation. And if we have some time, we will also chant sometimes, but no taste, averse. If one's senses are uncontrolled, one engages in sinful activities, illicit sex in one form or another, and so many. And if one's senses are uncontrolled, one becomes more and more eager for sensual pleasures. And when one's senses are uncontrolled, one suffers the pangs of lust and anger, suffering. So these are 4 effects of uncontrolled senses. Someone remember one of these 4? Please? That's one of them. That's you develop lust and then anger. That's one of the 4 we mentioned.
Bewilderment.
Bewilderment.
And then falling down from the.
Please?
Falling down from the position.
Yeah, but I just
Smriti, samoha.
that happens further.
Loss of interest.
But I just mentioned the verse from the Bhagavatam, 4 effects of uncontrolled senses. We are at one of them is we develop lust, anger, bewilderment, and so on. What are the 3 other that I mentioned?
Sinful activities.
Engaging in sinful activities. And 2 more. Does one have taste for hearing the Bhagavatam? No. Averse to transcendental topics. And the 4th one becomes eager to enjoy the senses. So we can reflect in our own life, how is that applicable to me? To what degree am I conditioned by material nature? Now, another verse from the same chapter in the 3rd canto, chapter 9. This verse says, conditioned souls, even mental speculators, sit in the chariot of their minds. Everything they try ends up in disappointment. But this sitting in the chariot of the mind, it's very poetic. What does it mean? When do you sit in the chariot of the mind?
Daydreaming.
Yeah. But
Enjoying my mind. I do this, I do that, I buy this, I do this. I have this.
yeah. But how do you take place on the chariot and sit on the chariot of the mind?
Control it also.
You sit on the chariot of the mind when you identify with the mind. We are not the mind. But where do you get, because yoga is all about controlling the mind. 6th chapter of Bhagvat Gita. Prabhupada writes in one purport, if the mind is uncontrolled, yoga practice is a farce. So if the mind is controlled, what is controlling the mind? We said the intelligence should control the mind, and the soul, through the intelligence, should control the mind. if someone something controls the mind, are we the mind?
No.
No? Does that make sense? Is the philosophy too deep? It's a very simple thing. That we are not the mind. Krishna explains in Bhagvat Gita in the 2nd chapter, verse 70, that apoyamanam asana pratistam samudanapi pavshanti sarvin sasantim apnoti. Yeah, anyway, it says that like rivers enter into the ocean. Ocean is not disturbed by these rivers entering into the ocean. In the same way, we should not be disturbed by all these material desires who come up into our mind. And that we are not disturbed by all these things that come up into the mind. Who is the we? It's the soul. We are not the mind. That we must learn to control. Where do you get the power not to identify with the mind? Where does it come from?
Through proper intelligence.
That proper intelligence, transcendent intelligence. But where does that come from? We just discussed it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, from Krishna.
Yeah, the Dharmi Buddhiyam. And for this you must follow the instructions of the spiritual master. And what does the spiritual master say? You must chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds. You must follow the regulative principles. You must hear the Bhagavatam. Then Krishna gives you realization to the heart, gives you spiritual power not to identify with the mind. One who identifies with the mind is a madman. He's sitting on the chariot of the mind, and he goes up with, the mind says, now this happened, this person died of that accident. Now you must be very depressed. And we become depressed because we identify with the mind. And we get sense gratification, you get so-called good news, and the mind is happy, and we think we are happy. It's foolishness, this identification with the mind. It's madness. One is a madman. That Prabhupada was in Calcutta. He was at that time he was still a household man, and he had to go to court for something. And while he was waiting for his case, which was a little thing, there was a murder case going on, and there was a doctor, and he had chloroformed one man because he was thinking, this man had a relationship with my wife. He chloroformed him and he cut his body in pieces, put it outside in boxes, and a policeman came by and saw blood coming from the boxes and found out what happened. And then a psychiatrist came before the court. The psychiatrist was being asked by the judge, is this man responsible for his act? Or is he a madman? And the psychiatrist said, Your Honor, in my opinion, everyone in this world is more or less mad. And Prabhupada said, yes. Everyone who identifies with the mind is mad in this world. The only sane persons in this world are the devotees of Krishna. They don't identify with the mind. They can observe the mind. But to do that, you need to follow sadhana and follow the instructions of the spiritual master and be very serious. If you don't follow that, you don't have the spiritual power to identify with the mind. You will go with the mind. The mind will overwhelm you. And that is very important to understand. Otherwise, we are just madmen, following the mind. What feels good, let us do. If it feels good to eat meat, let me kill thousands of cows, as long as I feel good. Because when I'm not feeling good, then then my immune system will react badly. So let me kill thousands of cows just for my sense gratification. And that's what's going on. People are completely insane because they don't control their minds. They identify with the minds. They are sitting on the chariot of the mind. And it ends always up in disappointment because the mind drags you down. Krishna says in Bhagvat Gita, Udret atman atman atmanam avasadyat atmeva yatmana bandhu adyeva atmevari por atmana. With the mind you can degrade yourself or uplift yourself. The mind can be your friend or your enemy. Bandhu atmatmastasya yanatma atmanachita anatmastu satrusve bhakti tatmava satruvat. The mind is your greatest enemy when it's uncontrolled. And the mind is your friend when it is controlled. So controlling is very important. Like we devotees eat prasad only. The serious devotees, they only eat prasad offered to Krishna. That is spiritual food. If you eat only spiritual food, gradually, all your cells, because the body is made of food, all your cells in your body are replaced every 6 years. And you will see the effect. If you only eat Krishna Prasad after 6-7 years, it becomes easy to control the mind. Because your gross body is spiritualized. So we should be careful. If you eat food cooked by more materialistic people, their insanity of mind comes in your mind. Very dangerous. Anyway, I'm just telling what's in Bhagavad Gita. ABC, nothing that I invent or something. But the Bhagavad Gita is more deeply explained in Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam. Okay, if we are sitting on the chariot of the mind, everything they try ends up in this disappointment. Why is that? If you identify with the mind and you follow the mind in all what it suggests, what's going to happen with you? What is the mind going to tell you if the mind is your enemy? Engage in sense gratification without limit. And more this society is going in that direction. That engage entertainment, pleasures, everyone, all for the body, not for the soul. It doesn't give satisfaction to ourselves. It is happiness in the mode of passion. What does Krishna say about happiness in the mode of passion? In the beginning it is nectar. And at the end, poison. That goodness is different. It's in the beginning it's poison, the tapasya is different in spiritual life, and at the end it's nectar. So what's the result? It's suffering. That disappointment, frustration. We expect fulfillment, but it doesn't come. So, Canto 3, chapter 36, 4, Bhagavad Gita quotes, "The greatness of the illusory energy, living entities feel happy and comfortable in whatever species they take birth." That is amazing. Whatever species they take birth, people feel comfortable. That there is a story of King Indra who was cursed to become a hog for 1 year. And after 1 year, Brahma came and Indra was in a hog body, had his family, many little pigs around hogs. And Brahma said, "We want you to come back to heaven. You need to take your post again." And Indra said, "But I'm okay here. I have to take care of my children." That he felt very comfortable. So Brahma had to force him to leave the body to come back. You feel comfortable in every species you take birth. That's the greatness of the illusory and the energy. Living entities think they are happy in this world. That family life, children, so many miseries also, but anyway, it's going together. That we feel okay. No need to become Krishna conscious. Just have a good time in the family. That it's very strong, this illusory energy. Everyone feels happy and comfortable in their bodies. On exception if you get older. If you get old, then it becomes difficult. That Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj gave a lecture on that topic, and he said to everyone, "Don't become old, it's not good. Don't do it." But we are forced to become old. And then, but even if you become old, still to come out of this illusion. Prabhupada was traveling in America, and he arrived by car in Los Angeles, and he saw old man playing with balls. And Prabhupada became angry. He said, "What? Why are they losing their time?" And that's Prabhupada's compassion. He could not see that losing their time. Then 4:29:29. That's the fourth canto. Sinful-minded living entities sometimes become snakes, demigods, human beings, taking birth as insignificant living beings to enjoy their karma. So that is a law of karma. We get a body and it's made of karma. And everything what we go through in life are reactions which comes to this body. But it's up to us how we react to these reactions. That's up to us. But this body is a reaction of your past life. And you undergo all these karmic reactions. That it is set here to enjoy your karma. Of course, if we perform devotional service, 4 kinds of karma are gone. Nectar of Devotion says. Karma which is parabdha, which is manifest. Aparabdha, which is not manifest. Or karma, which is in seed form. Of karma, which is in taking fruit, healthy. So all karma is gone when you chant Hare Krishna, but not completely. Because your body is made of karma. If all your karma is gone, you disappear. But this karma of the body is, Prabhupada says, is like a fan. A fan connected with electricity. It turns, you disconnect it with electricity, and it continues going for some time, but finally it will stop. So the same with this body. If we have become completely pure, this body runs out, and because the subtle body has been spiritualized, we don't take birth again. That we should try to achieve in this life, to get rid of all this karma. But that is to be understood. A living entity that takes birth in this world is a living entity, whatever living entity that takes birth in this world, is this living entity envious of Krishna?
Yes.
Yes, and why? What is the symptom of envy of Krishna?
Because he is chocolate.
Because you have a body. The body itself is a symptom of envy of Krishna. You get this body by your sinful activities in last lives. What is a sinful activity? You can get different definitions, not following the 4 regulated principles. That illicit sex and meat eating and gambling and so on. But Prabhupada gives also a much broader definition. What did we say in the beginning? I and mine. You remember? This is mine, and this is for my enjoyment. But everything belongs to Krishna, it's for his enjoyment. So that's a sinful activity. Every material act is a sinful activity, because it's done out of envy for Krishna. Okay? So even 335, even in hellish conditions, the living entity does not want to give up his body. So when in illusion he becomes attached to relatives, does not associate with devotees. They do not engage in the service of saintly persons, and they suffer miseries. 4 symptoms that is stated in this verse. Becoming attached to relatives and wealth, they think themselves glorious. And we see that, especially in America, those who have a lot of wealth, they are the persons who made it. great power, a lot of wealth that and many people, the next verse says, the happiness in this world is a remedy for distress. Can someone explain that? Happiness in this world is a remedy for distress.
Can you repeat that for a second?
The remedy, the happiness in this world is a remedy for distress.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Everybody is looking for that.
yeah,
And everybody is running for that. And nobody is even able to find because of this. So much stress.
yeah. Many find happiness in eating.
That's insane. Everybody has a different definition to find the happiness.
Eating,
Shopping.
shopping. But when one eats, the distress of the hunger is gone. So the remedy is eating. And shopping feels one good. Going shopping, traveling maybe, so looking for holiday, that to get some happiness, relaxation of the big distress of
Happiness is inside. We just need to find that.
happiness is inside. That yes, happiness of the soul. Happiness of the soul is happiness inside.
If you're inner happy, you look that world so happy, and if your inner soul is in pain, everywhere is a pain.
Yeah, if we are engaged in Krishna consciousness, we feel satisfied. And we will not seek happiness. More, we become averse to this material happiness. No interest. That you lose all your interest. That was the complaint in Vrindavan. Of course, all the gopis, they were representatives of Srimad Radharani, and that, but they were kept inside by their mothers-in-law. These mothers-in-law had one complaint about these gopis. About their daughters-in-law. And what was that complaint? Someone knows that complaint? The complaint was these gopis, they have really no interest in their husband. Why was that? Why did they lose interest in their husband, all these gopis?
Krishna's skills.
Because they were interested in Krishna.
They were attached to Krishna. So if you become attached to Krishna, you lose your interest in all material things. And all these mothers-in-law, they went one time to Madhumangal. Madhumangal is Krishna's Brahmin friend. And they told Madhumangal, look, our daughters-in-law, they have really no interest in their husbands. How can we rekindle their interest? Do you have can you perform a jhana or any advice? Madhumangal said, we will solve that, saying Madhumangal said, if you give me sufficient ladus as dakshina, I will solve that. He said, you send your daughters-in-law, you let them do a Surya Puja, a puja for the sun god, and you send them out to the forest, because this puja must be done by a qualified Brahmin in the forest. Send them to the forest to collect flowers and all herbs, everything needed for the puja. And of course, Mother Mangal knew all these gopis were kept inside, but they want to go out to see Krishna during the day, and they could not. So he facilitated that they could go out. So the gopis went out and went collecting flowers and so on. But of course, also the mother-in-law of Radharani went with them. What's the name of the mother-in-law of Radharani? Kotila. Kotila went with them. And when the auspicious time for the puja came up, a very young boy appeared, very handsome. Of course, that was Krishna disguised as a Brahman. And so Krishna said, I will do the puja. And he gave him all the paraphernalia, and they performed puja for the sun god. And all the gopis were so happy to be with Krishna. But anyway, they followed Mother Mangala's advice, but it didn't help. No interest in their so-called husband. But that is what happens when you come in contact with Krishna. Rupa Goswami has one verse in which he says, don't go to see this black boy, three-banded, playing a flute at Keshigat. Don't go to see him because your love for society and family all finished. Of course, Rupa Goswami said, that is what you should do. That's what he meant. So the happiness in this world is a remedy for distress. But what does the soul want? Everyone wants to love and be loved. Do we get that in this world? A little bit, with a lot of suffering between. But Vedanta Sutra said, Anandamaya Vyasa, the soul is meant for the spiritual happiness, connecting with Krishna. If you connect with Krishna, then this controlling of the senses becomes easy. If we are disconnected with Krishna, it's a useless endeavor. And that's the reality. Anyway, we are halfway of these verses of conditioned souls, but I think you have the message, right? That what it means, a conditioned soul. And tomorrow at the temple, we will speak about symptoms of fortunate souls, of liberated souls. Then we will learn tomorrow what's a liberated soul. It's more positive. That it's more positive, but today's lesson is very important. If we are not conscious that we are conditioned, if we are not conscious that we are factories riding on this chariot of the mind, how dangerous it is, we cannot make spiritual advancement. So we have to be conscious that only Krishna consciousness will control this mind and give us the power not to identify it. And then you will come up automatically averse to sense gratification. Any comment, questions? Yes?
The questions like yesterday. This will be your first thing. When you said that we have to become sincere, 5 minutes chanting, Prabhupada said that we have to cry, like the son cry for how to get that sincerity or purity, purification in our heart.
Yeah.
Like, would that be possible in this
So,
few more years we have?
so the question is, how can we become sincere in spiritual life? What should we do to attain that? And that? Then we have to understand what sincerity means. Sincere in spiritual life means be sincere in the motivation why we perform devotional service. So the purity of our desire is important. We may have many material desires, but there must be one desire that dominates, and that comes always first. And that desire is, I want to please Krishna favorably, without asking something in return, without material motivation, just out of love, wanting to please Krishna. So, someone asked my Guru Maharaj, what does it mean chanting of Hare Krishna? His answer was not on a high intellectual platform. He just said, chanting Hare Krishna means saying to Krishna, I love you. That should be the motive in everything we do, out of love for Krishna. And then it becomes easy to control the mind. That we can try to control the mind in so many ways. When we chant Hare Krishna, many times our mind is going wild because the material energy doesn't agree. But how should we chant? What is the way to sincerely chant? Yeah, we can chant in different ways. We can chant that, we can chant in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Or you can chant in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Or you can chant in goodness. Oh, I'm chanting to feel good. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These 3 forms of chanting will not help you. It will not help you to control the mind. The chanting we need is, we have to chant and put all our love in the chanting. If you put all your love in the chanting, then your mind becomes easily controlled. So that's the way to chant. The sincerity is, I want to give all my love, everything I have, to Krishna, just to please him. That is sincerity. Sincerity begins with sincerity in motivation. Why you do it. And if you have that sincerity to do everything for Krishna, you may be sometimes ensnared by the illusory energy. But Krishna says that opposite, it says in Bhagvat Gita, my devotee may do the most abominable thing, but is still a sadhu, sadhu samantavya. That because he sees our sincerity, our sincerity in purpose, why we do it. We don't chant, if you chant to get sense gratification, to fulfill your desires, that is, this is not pure chanting. It will also help a bit, but it's going very, very slow. But if you have the pure motivation, then Krishna reciprocates. Prabhupada said always, purity is the force. It's purity in desire. That's what the soul does. That's the only thing we do in this world. The soul desires, become attached, desire. And that we should have that pure desire. We may have many other desires, but that desire must come first. It means if you have your own desires and you cannot just put them away, use your own desires to please Krishna. The desire to please Krishna should come first. Use your abilities, your skills, whatever you have, in Krishna's service. Because you want to do business for Krishna. That you want to study for Krishna and use your talents in his service. And that's called dovetailing. We dovetail our desires in the desire to serve Krishna. And that is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one must act according to one's nature. One should not try to act according to the nature of someone else. One must do one's own duty, not the duty of others, because that will not work. The desires are too strong, and we are still conditioned, but we use our conditioned nature in the service of Krishna. This is, in essence, what it means. Does that help?
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Maybe what?
Oh, I had one more question.
Okay, the last question maybe what is getting late. Yeah.
So, very simple one. Like basically, the soul, let's say, is like imprisoned in the body. You know, it's a kind of prison for the body. So, but why do we depict Krishna itself as having a personality or being a person in itself?
Yeah, because Krishna wants our love. Everything what is in Krishna is in us, or it cannot manifest. Love is between two persons. We are persons. Krishna is also a person. So without Krishna person, there is no use of our love. And Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. And that is so beautiful. Krishna comes under control of the love of his pure devotees and reciprocates with him. Like Prabhupada. Prabhupada followed the order of his spiritual master. And he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. He came in America, and the first year nothing practically happened, but he didn't give up. And Krishna saw his determination and reciprocated with that. And then he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world in 11 years. That is not an ordinary thing. It's Krishna reciprocating. And every devotee who has a serious practice can tell you about how Krishna reciprocates with them in their lives. But Krishna is not a person like us. He's a transcendental person. Krishna is arupya, has no material form. And but the impersonalists, they concoct something and they say he has no form at all. But no, he has a form and he can, it's mentioned in Bhagvat Gita, he's in everyone's heart. He's not a person like us, but he is, and that's important to understand, the nature of God is translogical, cannot be understood with our tiny brain. It is in Bhagavad Gita. He's a person, Bhagavan, in the spiritual world, and at the same time he's all-pervading and is in everyone's heart. And only devotees understand these three states, these three features. And that's explained in the Bhagavatam. Vedanta tattvavidas tattvam jnanam avyam prameti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sapyate. The learned transcendentalists have concluded that the absolute non-dual is a non-dual substance which has three features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And they are all three the absolute truth, all three. But in Brahman only the Sat aspect, the eternal aspect from Krishna is revealed of the absolute truth. In the Paramatma you have the eternal aspect, but also the knowledge and controlling aspect. But Krishna is Satchidananda. He has the highest, the Ananda. Krishna is always in bliss. Always, whatever he does, when he kills demons, whatever he does, he's in bliss. And he can appear everywhere. That is translogical. It's beyond the laws of material nature. He creates these laws and maintains them. So it requires a big amount of knowledge. The devotees of Krishna are not without knowledge. They are the greatest philosophers, if I can say. The most deep philosophy which is go far beyond the scope of what the impersonalists bring. But impersonalists you have two kinds, Brahmavadis and Mayavadis. Mayavadis are offenders. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Manushantam Ashritam. They think I'm an ordinary human being. They do not understand my transcendental nature and my transcendental personality. But the Brahmavadis, they are also impersonalists, but they are not offenders of Krishna. They think that Brahman is higher than Krishna. That's all. But they don't say that Krishna is not transcendental. Anyway, this is a little insight, but it's much, much more to say about that. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada.